This video is brought to you by Squarespace, which is the best place to build a beautiful website. So I made a video about the iPhone 13 duplication feature, which of course makes no sense, but people wanted to know how it was done so realistically, specifically with the reflection, so here is how I made it. I started off filming myself sliding around an iPod Touch, and two important things to notice here is that one, there are tracker markers on the table, which of course are useful for tracking the shot, but they do need to be digitally removed later, and second of all, the iPod I'm interacting with will obviously have realistic reflections to begin with because, you know, it's real. So all I really need to render is the clones that are left behind. Anyways, I took the shot and 3D tracked it so that I knew the motion of the camera and could then add 3D objects to the scene, downloaded this free 3D model of an iPod Touch off TurboSquid and reworked it until it looked like the version that I have, used this to hand animate the motion of the original, and finally I left those 3D clones behind and set the moving iPod to a shadow catcher so that I could simulate the lighting effects during those brief moments of intersection. So at this point I had a basic 3D setup that I wanted to overlay on top of the footage, but now the name of the game was making this look as realistic as possible. So I took out my 360 camera and placed it on the same spot as our 3D objects and took a bunch of bracketed photos of the environment which were stitched into an HDRI image applied to the 3D environment, which by the way is a big part of getting those realistic reflections, and finally I rendered out the more physically accurate render. Now in compositing, all I had to do was go back and manually paint out all those tracker markers, which is a pain in the ass, like really. I then mimicked some of those realistic lighting effects by hand animating some of those sharp reflections you get from the ceiling lights, and after a bunch of compositing and masking later, we finally get Apple sends me the new iPhone. I'm like, why did you send me the new iPhone? It looks like an iPod, but they said there's a new feature you have to show everybody. I'm like, okay. So apparently the new version has duplicates, clones. I don't know how this doesn't like tank the stock price, but apparently you can just get unlimited of these now. Just a thing. Oh, hello there, and hello super wide camera. This VFX Breakdown is sponsored by Squarespace. For those of you who didn't know, Squarespace is a all-in-one platform when it comes to making websites without any of the coding or without any of the complicated stuff. You literally just click and drag. It's modern website making for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, or if you know what you're doing, you could use it too, but I don't know what I'm doing. And my website, www.cgmatter.com, is made with Squarespace without any skill on my behalf. Some features that you might be interested in are analytics, so you can track who's coming to your website. That is demographic type information. Also email campaigns, so you can send out a email campaign. I mean, that's what it is, to anybody who visits your website. So send out your personal or your brand message. Oh yeah. And while Squarespace is already affordable at an annual subscription at under $10 a month, I am here. Why am I here? I'm here to make that deal sweeter. You can use my link in the description to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So the link exists in the description.